Hello all, and welcome back to my channel. And today, it's the finale of the Extrava-Sans-A. Here we have Gino. Honestly, I didn't know if I was ever going to finish the Extrava-Sans-A. And honestly, I'm glad that it's finally over. But honestly, it was kind of fun looking back on the classic Undertale alternate universes, and I don't know how else to describe it. It's like it's a return to nostalgia. Because I was there when Undertale was new, right? I mean, I'm sure most of us in the Undertale fandom were, in fact, there when it was written, so to speak. I just don't know what to say. But if you've stuck around for this entire trilogy, thank you very much. Dust was actually pretty difficult to do at first. Especially since I was still learning, drawing my own posing and such, and stuff. And I eventually realized that it would be really cool to start implementing actual, like Splatoon, more weapons into my pieces to give it, more action and such. So for Dust, I gave him just a basic ink brush. I felt that would be appropriate. And honestly, I am pretty proud. I'm proud of all of the pieces I made for this, for this trilogy. Every single one. I'm proud of it. And I feel like I learned a lot about posing and character design from studying other people's work and translating it into a different style. And which I encourage other artists to do the same, by the way. Here we have Horror Sans. Now at first I didn't know what to do for him. And I eventually had him in this, ready to swipe and kill pose. When I was originally going to emulate his classic raising the cleaver up high to cut off Eliza's hand for a head, to make the head dog, right? If you've known Horror Tale for long enough, you know what pose I'm referencing. And yes, I am happy that I did in fact remember her name, the protagonist's name for this, because I actually did research a good portion of the Sanses, especially so I'd get the right weapons and get their vibes right. Because up until then, everything was pretty much from memory. I also based horror on that one artist who was partly sanitized. Now, Killer was a fun one. He's a lionfish. I decided to go a similar route to some of the other more violent AUs, only with him walking away, which, the behind of someone, with someone's back turned to the camera, has always been a struggle for me. So this was good practice for that. I gave him a slosher. I know it's a bit small, but it could very well be seen as perspective. And the way I implemented the target on his chest, that's meant to be like his soul, I'm very proud of it. Because what I did was I implemented it into his hair. And I really like that look. Now, Flowey Sans, I decided to really think about Splatoon's lore, and decided to just give Sans one of the hypno shades that Callie had. But instead of a typical eye symbol, it's the yellow it's Flowey, or at least a yellow flower. And I figured that was a really interesting take on the idea. Of course, it's not truly 100% true to form the original version of Flowey Tale, but I'm quite content with it. I'm quite content with it with how I play with the concept and all. You can even see Papyrus there, asking why, just why. And Extrava-Sans, or at least I hope it's Extrava-Sans. Well, Echo/Gaster. I actually don't know what the difference is. What's funny is that I actually didn't, like initially in some of these, I didn't label some of the Sanses, so I actually had to guess who was who, and I'm just glad that so far I've been right so far as I'm going over the recording. I'm just very proud, like, of myself for finishing this trilogy and for drawing this many like very unique characters. Like every Sans I've seen is super unique, and I kind of like how the recent insurgence of spider sonas has basically been a return to form for the idea of having these alternate universe sonas. But I still remember shit that was there when the universe was at its peak. Well, for starters, there's what I call the cookie incident. If you're unfamiliar, then the cookie incident was basically when an artist at a convention, I don't recall which one, was selling some art. Obviously, they wouldn't be an artist's alley if they weren't. And one of the art pieces was Soriel, or those who aren't fully in the loop, Sans and Toriel in like a romantic pairing. So what I ended up doing was not what I ended up doing. What ended up happening is that someone went up to this artist and offered them a hand-baked cookie. Don't do this, by the way. And this artist obviously accepted the gift, bit into it, needles. Just needles. Yeah, so I hope that doesn't happen again. First time ever intentionally designing Elfies into a Splatoon character here. I figured I'd sort of embrace that idea. I even gave Sans the red spectacles that he had in the Christmas Party comic, My Lover of Piggies. Figured that was a decent detail. Alter Tail was fun, especially with the pose and with his personality. Like, he would obviously be the medic. Like, he would so easily be the medic. And I even put a little frog on his head, because he likes to race frogs. And I was actually so scared that this one would be like font cessed. Don't look it up, please, for your own safety. I'm just glad it wasn't. Epic Tail. I mean, I didn't know what to expect from him, but honestly, I was more than happy to draw a rubber chicken to basically trace over the image of a rubber chicken and give him possibly the most chaotic evil weapon ever, the Luna Blaster. It's like, other than the feeling of accomplishment, I don't really know how to feel. It's like, I'm proud of it and all, but there's just this sense of, what did I do this all for? I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just rambling at this point, so you're not just listening to an empty void with Undertale music in the background. The wings were fun to conceptualize, for Sky Sans specifically. I decided that he'd be an Octoling, but with robotic wings. And I figured that'd be a fun take on it. That's actually why I made the King of Floof back there, a fuzzy Octoling, because of the whole King of Floof thing. And finally, a squad. Made up of Katana Sans, Outer Tail Sands, Night Tail Sands, under Night Sands, and last but certainly least, Paper Jam. Now, if you don't know who Paper Jam is, well, I wish I could live in that part of your brain where I can live nice and happy knowing he never existed. Because if you're familiar with Undertale, you'd know about something called Paper Jam's Daycare. Now, this was a very nasty, nasty comic made by I don't even know who. And honestly, I don't care enough I don't care enough to look it up. Like, their art was problematic, to say the least. Like, it doesn't fully ruin Paper Jam for me. It just makes it difficult to, like Paper Jam as a concept. Especially with everything. I'm just glad that it's over now, and it can't hurt me anymore. So, because I don't like Paper Jam that much, I gave him the big swig. For no other reason than because it would absolutely screw him over, and it is widely known by professional Splatoon players to be the actual worst roller in the game. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much for listening to me ramble like this entire time. We'll get back to regular non-Sans content eventually. Thank you so much for watching. And make sure you actually visit my Redbubble. I normally don't shill a lot, but I just wanted to. See ya.
Me down, poophead! I'm gonna marry you when I grow up. How about you guys get married now, Fresh? Yes, quick!